Welcome to the first episode of SEC Clash. I'm your host, Justin Johnson. This is where we talk about SEC football. We're going to be giving games, stats, and some of my own personal rankings. Like today, I'll be giving out my rankings for the 16 quarterbacks in the SEC, going from 16 to 1. Let's dive right in. So at number 16, I got Blake Shapen. He threw for 974 yards. He had 8 touchdowns and 1 interception. He only rushed for 36 yards and only had 2 rushing touchdowns. He got injured and was only able to play for 4 games. One of those games being Florida. In just those 4 games, he got sacked 11 times. But I'm not blaming it all on him. Jeff Levy's still trying to put things together up there. I still think he's a really good coach. Just got to get better than that. At least try to make a bowl game. At least try to go 6-6. It was a really bad year for them last year, but like I said, they're still putting things together. He was injured. If they can keep Blake Shapen healthy, I think they can make more of those games and win. Let's move on to number 15. I'm going to Ole Miss, Austin Simmons. Didn't get to play a whole lot. Was behind Jackson Dart, of course. He only threw for 282 yards, had 2 touchdowns. Ole Miss has the least returning this year. They're 16th in the SEC in returning. So there's a lot they have to put back in place, but I really believe in Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin always, he always puts out good talent. Like he had one of the top quarterbacks in the draft last year, Jackson Dart. I think that was. I think they'll be all right, and I think they can still go in the right direction. And I still think this team can win a lot of games like they did last year and the year before. Lane Kiffin has took this program and really made it into something. Trust me, he's not going anywhere for a while. Let's just see. I know they're hoping to at least get into the playoffs this year. Going on to number 14. I got Gunnar Stockton. He only threw for 440 yards. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They lost to Alabama. They lost to Ole Miss, and they lost to Notre Dame. He has a lot of potential. He can really accurate on throwing the ball. He did good in the SEC championship against Texas. Completed 12 of 16 for 71 yards. Didn't do too good against Notre Dame, of course, losing in the playoffs. And Kirby, he's like Lane Kiffin. He always puts out good talent. He's had great quarterbacks like Carson Beck and Stetson Bennett. Carson Beck now going to Miami and playing for Miami, so we'll see how that turns out and where they go. At number 13, I got Ty Simpson. He threw for 167 yards behind Milroe, behind Bryce. This guy's been sitting back there for a while, trying to, get his turn in, and people think that's a bad thing. He's been sitting there, but some people think it's a good thing. He's been back there learning a lot. Alabama lost to Tennessee, Vandy, Oklahoma, and Michigan. He's got a really good receiver core around him. I think the number 2 receiver core at Alabama this year. I don't think he's much of a runner, or he's not much of a runner as Jalen Milroe is, but he has shown good running. So for when he's running and runs for 70 yards and drops the ball at the 1-yard line to celebrate, and don't need to do that. But I think this guy can be accurate and a good addition to the team. It's not 100% that he's going to start, but they said if they had a game tomorrow, Ty Simpson would start. Now let's move on to number 12. We're going to move Arch Manning, number 12 at Texas. I know everybody is high on this guy. Everybody is like, hey, this guy needs to be at the top of the list, but I haven't seen enough from him. I really haven't. They predict him to be a Heisman candidate, Heisman winner, if that, win national championship, be the first-round pick in a draft. I don't see it yet. Just because of a name, I can't go off of it. it's just a lot to say that. He threw for 939 yards. He threw for 9 touchdowns. He had 2 interceptions. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. Just because he beat Mississippi State, he threw over 300 yards at Mississippi State, and he beat ULM or UTSA Roadrunners. Yeah, I'm not really impressed by that. He's got to show me more this year, but I think he'll do good. I'm not saying he's going to be the worst, but I'm saying I just got to see more from him. I haven't seen a whole lot. He's got to earn. Just like everybody else does. He's got to get out there and earn it. I just, the hype is so big for him right now. I'm one of the people who's not that big on him right now. Really got to see what he's going to do this year. Now we're going to move on to number 11, Missouri. We're going to go to Bo Parbula. I think that's how you say it. I might be butchering that. I'm not entirely sure. But he did throw for 2,745 yards. He did throw for 5 touchdowns. He had 1 interception. He rushed for 242 yards. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. He lost to Oregon. He lost to Ohio State last year. He's coming from Penn State. Got picked up by Missouri last December. Has a lot of proof behind Brady Cook. I think this guy could be a good addition to this team, and they need somebody right now after losing Brady Cook. I thought Brady Cook was a good quarterback, even though he didn't get picked up in the NFL draft. But this guy can really do some good things. I think Eli Drinkwitz is he's really done a lot with that program. He turned this program from a punching bag into a contending team now, who's now could be competing for playoffs. I think they could do it if they get everything right around them. But it's going to take a lot of work. Now let's move on from there. We're going to go to number 10. I have Joey Aguilar, Tennessee. He threw for 3,003 yards. He had 23 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. It's a lot of interceptions, but he is a gunslinger. He rushed for 207 yards, had 2 rushing touchdowns. Like I said, a gunslinger. He went from App State to UCLA and pretty much traded with Tennessee with Nico. Nico leaving and going to UCLA. The big question is, can he be better or just as good as Nico? We're going to have to see that, but it looks like he puts up good numbers. But can he do that in the SEC with SEC talent? But, Nico leaving, now Joey Aguilar is going to a team, I believe, with better talent. So he'll have more talent around him to help him out. So I think he could be as good as Nico. That's what I think, though. Now we're going to move on to number 9. I got Kentucky. Zach Calzada. He threw for 3,744 yards. He had 35 touchdowns. He had 9 interceptions. He's coming from the Cardinals. He looks good, but can he do that in the SEC? Mark Stoops has he's got to work on a lot of stuff. I mean, Kentucky did not have a great year last year in the bottom of the SEC. Mark Stoops could potentially be on the hot seat this year if they have another season like they did last year. So he's hoping that this Zach Calzada dude can get in here and perform, which I think he most certainly can. Same way as Joey Aguilar, he can come in here and with some better talent and put up some good numbers. But we're going to have to see from there. So from there, we're going to move on to number 8. We're going to move to Auburn, Jackson Arnold. He threw for 1,421 yards. He had 12 touchdowns. He had 3 interceptions. He rushed for 444 yards and had 3 rushing touchdowns. They lost to LSU, Missouri, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Tennessee. This guy was running for his life most of last year. Offensive coordinator got fired, while going through the season. But this is another one. I think they have a great receiver core around him. I think Auburn has the number one receiver core this year. It is just stacked. And I think he will do a lot better. This guy is a good mobile quarterback whenever he's got an O-line to protect him. So we'll see how he kind of varies and how he gets things done. I think he'll do fine at Auburn. Hugh Freeze is supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, but with Peyton Thorne last year, that wasn't too much of the case. But we'll see how it goes this year. Now we're going to move on to number 7. We're going to move to Arkansas. I got Taylen Green. He threw for 3,154 yards. He had 15 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He rushed for 8 touchdowns, rushing for 602 yards. They lost against every ranked team besides Tennessee. So they got to take some of those and flip it around. And not only that, they got sacked 32 times. 32 times he got sacked. We cannot have that. You got to build an O-line. Hey, look, Sam Pittman, we like you, but you really got to show us something. I think Sam Pittman possibly could be on the hot seat as well. But we're going to have to see. I hope Arkansas does good. Taylen Green looks good. He's just gotta have that receiver core and have a good line behind him. And they also need to have their defense to be better than they were last year. Now we're going to move on to number 6. The owner of Alabama teams last year was Diego Pavia. Threw for 2,293 yards with 20 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He rushed for 8 touchdowns and 800 yards rushing. This guy is a mobile quarterback. Only lopsided game they really lost was against the South Carolina, which was 28-7. And, they lost to Tennessee, LSU, Texas, Michigan, and I don't know what happened against Georgia State. That should have never happened. The kind of performance they put up last year. I think he was kind of banged up a little bit through the end of the year as it was, as it was going. But we'll see how he does this year. Vanderbilt has the most returning production this year. So that's number one. They're number one in the SEC for the returning. So we'll see how they vary. I think people think they're just going to fall off. They were a one-hit wonder. I think this team could, maybe possibly get into the playoffs if they turn some of those games around if they lost last year. We could look at a playoff run, but we're going to have to see. I'm not saying that yet. Now we're going to move on to number 5. We got Oklahoma. John Mateer. He threw for 3,100 yards. He had 29 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Had 15 rushing touchdowns. He ran for 826 yards. Played for Washington State, though, last year, and did not do good against Boise State, 45-24. They lost to Wyoming, they lost to Oregon State, New Mexico, which it looks like those games were a lot of a defensive problem. I mean, it looks like they put up a lot of points. Just defense couldn't really stop them. So now with him going to Oklahoma with that defense they had last year, I know Oklahoma didn't do that good last year, but I don't think that was on the defense. That was on the offense. I mean, like I said, the offense coordinator got fired through the season. So I'm kind of high on this guy. I got him at number 5. But we'll see how things go. I like his stats. He's a gunslinger, but also a good mobile quarterback. So from there, we're going to move to number 4. That's going to take us to Texas A&M. Now, a lot of people I don't think are really talking about this guy. I'm really high on this guy, like from what I see from him last year when I watched him. And that's Marcel Reed. He threw for 1,864 yards. He threw 15 touchdowns and only had 6 interceptions. He lost to South Carolina, Auburn, Texas, and USC. He rushed for 547 yards. He had 7 rushing touchdowns. He's a good mobile quarterback, and I think he can really give this team the edge that it needs. Even old Johnny Football said that, it looks like Johnny Football said some good things about him, got some high hopes for him, and, likes the way he plays. So we'll see how he does. On Mike Elko over there, he's putting something together over there at Texas A&M. After all them years at having Jimbo Fisher, looks like Mike Elko could turn this team around, and they could be another team that can make a run at the playoffs next year. I'm pretty high on them. I don't know if you guys forgot, but last year they could have made a playoff run, just lost at the wrong time, and could have went to SEC championship. And if they would have won that, they would have been the first seed in the playoffs. But we'll see how things line up for them this coming up season. At number 3, I got DJ Lagway, Florida. There's a lot of people high on this guy. I'm high on this guy. He threw for 1,915 yards. He had 12 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He hit 95.8% of his deep passes. They lost to Miami, Texas A&M, and Tennessee, Georgia. They beat LSU and Ole Miss and kept Ole Miss out of the playoffs. Was one of the reasons they did that. Billy Napier, he was, at first people were like, let's get this guy out of here. Now they're like, hey, let's keep him in here. They said he would be staying. He needs to do something this year. But hey, let's be honest. They've had a brutal schedule. Last year and this year, it looks brutal. They have a gauntlet. If this is the only SEC team I can look at and say, if they go 9-3, you got to put them in. Like, you've got to. I think this team right here, just looking at that gauntlet they got to go through, it's going to be tough for them. But if they go 9-3, man, you got to put them in there. You've got to. And number 2. I got Lenore Sellers, South Carolina. He threw for 2,534 yards, had 18 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He rushed for 7 touchdowns, and they lost to Ole Miss, Alabama, and LSU, and then they lost to Illinois in the bowl game. Their best game was against Missouri. His best game was against Missouri, throwing for 353 yards and 5 touchdowns. He rushed for 166 yards on Clemson with a combined rushing through the year of 674 yards. He was SEC Freshman of the Year. I think Shane Beamer's got him a good quarterback here. A really good freshman. I think he could do really good things. This guy is a good mobile quarterback. I think he could really lose his mind. They started to pick up some heat last year at the end. People debated on that LSU loss. If they were saying they didn't really lose. They were really close with Alabama. But I think Shane Beamer could really do a lot of good things. Okay. Now, moving to the number 1. I got Garrett Nussmeier as my number 1. This guy is a gunslinger. Crazy. I got him as number 1. He threw for 4,052 yards, had 29 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Oof, it's a lot of interceptions. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, and he had negative 38 rushing yards. That's a lot on the offensive line right there. I do believe that is. I think this guy is a really good quarterback. This guy could be a Heisman contender, could win the Heisman. And out of those, he got sacked 16 times. And 7 of those sacks came from Florida. Got to fix that O line. But this guy is a gunslinger. He threw for over 300 yards in 7 games. That is awesome. This guy, I've got him as the number 1 quarterback in my SEC rankings. I think this guy right here can really go crazy. Now, Brian Kelly, on the other hand, I don't have too much. I mean, he's a good, but can he hit that elite status? Can he push it over the top? He's had some really good offense, but his defense is just really, haven't clicked. I mean, he had, Jaden Daniels was a great quarterback, great offense. Well, I think they were the number 1 offense. I think they were the number 1 offense that year. But defense wasn't. I don't even think was even in the top 10 that year. But that's it for my quarterback rankings. If you like this, please give it a like, and in the comments, please tell me, who do you think will be the top quarterback in the SEC this year? That's all for now, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Thank you for tuning in to SEC Clash.